Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into today's video. So we're doing JMA Friday. As always on a Friday, we're having a look at the weather next month. This takes us into the middle part of May, so we're going to the final month of the summer. Of course, Good Friday today, so thanks for tuning in on your Good Friday. Hope you're having a nice day. And we'll have a look at CFS and Japanese models in a second. Before I get on with that, just to say about the competition. So it's coming to the final stage of the competition now. We started on Sunday. We're going to be running it until this coming Sunday, Easter Sunday. So just a couple of days left now. We're giving away the Climate Night Fishing Moon Phase Clock, courtesy of metcheck.co.uk weather instrumentation. You can find my link to metcheck.co.uk weather instrumentation on the links page. So this prize is worth £39.50, but it can be bespoke and personalised. You have your name or a loved one's name engraved into the clock, and that means that the clock will actually be worth £50. So it's a prize that is worth £50 that we're giving away at Gazrovitz this year. And to win this moon phase clock, all you have to do is email your name and address to gazrovitz@gmail.com. And that's it. It'll enter you into the prize draw. And on Sunday evening, 7 o'clock, one name in a video is going to be drawn out of the bag at random. The name that's drawn out of the bag will be the winner of our prize. So, got to be in it to win it. Get emailing, and it's been a fantastic response so far. It's still got a couple of days to enter, of course. We'll be closing the competition at 5 o'clock on Sunday. So, got a couple of days still left, but don't leave it too much longer. And good luck to everybody that has entered so far. Right, we're going on with JMA Friday then. We're going to have a look at the Japanese model first of all. Then we're going to have a look at CFS V2 and see what they're showing going into the last month of spring. So, starting off with the JMA Northern Hemisphere view. This is from the pole down. This is the top of the pole up here. This is the British Isles down here underneath the pole, of course. Blue extrapolates to low pressure, and the brighter colours, oranges, reds, yellows, they extrapolate to above average heights, which is high pressure. So, for the coming week, this takes us from the 14th to the 21st of April. We find we've got an area of above average heights to our west, with below average heights to our east-northeast. The jet stream is going something like that. So it places us on the cool side of the jet there. Quite a lot of dry weather, with the ridges close to us, but it won't be as settled as it has been, and it won't be as warm as it has been through the earlier part of April and back into March as well. So generally quite cool but fairly dryish conditions for the week ahead. Then we go through into week 2, which is the 21st through to the 28th of April. And very little change in the broad pattern, really. We've still got the area of above average heights to our west. We've still got the area of below average heights to our east, and it means that the jet stream will be doing something a bit like that. So again, we're blocking off the Atlantic. It's not going to be especially wet. In fact, it could be fairly dry. But the way the ridge and the trough are sort of lined up, it does place us with a fairly cool air mass. So I think the second half of April is possibly going to be quite a bit cooler, really, than the first week to 10 days of the month, particularly. And then we go through to weeks 3 and 4. This is going from the 28th of April through to the 12th of May, into the final month of the spring. And we're going to a more Atlantic-driven pattern then. So we've got above average heights just to our southwest, below average heights to the north, and we're simply bringing in a westerly flow. So possibly it's turning a bit more unsettled, especially so to the north and west. I think the south and east, close to this area of high pressure, probably still having a fair amount of dry weather. The main thing I would assume is that the temperatures are lifting up there, because we're losing that northwesterly influence and we're reverting more to a west-southwesterly, which should be quite a bit warmer. So the early part of May, after a cooler end to April, probably turns warmer, and there might be some rain up in the north and west too. Let's have a look at the tropical and mid-latitude view to see the temperature and precipitation anomalies that are going with those heights. So this is where the British Isles is on this chart. We're in the top right-hand corner of the chart as you're looking at it. And the pole, we're just looking at the pole view down, but the pole is actually off the chart on this scale. up here. So in terms of precipitation through the coming week, this is again the 14th, 21st of April, we find most parts of the country are coming out drier than average in the week ahead, a fairly dry week coming up. Temperatures are really on the cool side, so about average, but just hinting at being a little bit cooler than average. Notice most parts of Europe as well are coming out quite cold. So a fairly coolish week, but quite dry coming up. Week 2 shows very little change in the overall pattern, with that ridge out to our west. The trough is over to the east, and it means we're still bringing the flow down northwest to southeast. So again, it's a fairly dry week from the 21st to the 28th of April. Precipitation is below average, but temperatures are still looking quite cool. In fact, it's a little bit cooler there, with temperatures going below average for most parts of the country. And again, most parts of Europe are coming out below average with those temperatures as well through that final week of April. And then we're going through to the end of April and the start of May. This is from the 28th of April through to the 12th of May. We find we've got the above average heights to our southwest, below average heights to our northwest, and we're bringing in sort of a flat westerly, southwesterly flow. You would expect this to be a bit more unsettled. It is particularly so for the north and west. So Scotland and Northern Ireland are going above average with the rainfall. Still a little bit on the drier side for England and Wales, but it looks like it's a more unsettled and therefore a wetter period. And also the temperatures are lifting up a bit as well. So we're losing those cooler than average temperatures, and we're going back to average to slightly above average temperatures there. So recovery in the temperatures for early May, but probably turning a little bit more unsettled. That's how the JMA is seeing things. What about CFS V2? Again, these are 500 millibar heights broken down into weekly periods. The first week period takes us from the 14th to 20th of April. The coming week finds that we've got this area of above average heights to our west, below average heights to our east-northeast, the jet stream and the flow going something like that. So we're bringing the air down northwest to southeast. Good agreement, therefore, between the JMA and the CFS for the week ahead. With high pressure out to our west, it's not going to be particularly unsettled. There'll be a fair amount of dry weather, but it does look as though it could be quite cool. Moving through to week 2, which is the 21st to the 27th of April. Again, agreement between the two models, above average heights to our west, below average heights to our east. And the flow again is doing something like that, coming down across the country northwest to southeast. So we're on the cooler side of the trough and the ridge, and it means that temperatures probably going to be quite disappointing for the final stages of April. Now, this one looks a bit different. This is week 3, going from the 28th of April to the 4th of May. This one looks quite unsettled. Below average heights are just developing to the north and to the east of the country. The ridge, the above average heights, is pulling further out into the Atlantic, into western part of the Atlantic. The jet stream probably doing something like that. So that looks quite cool and quite unsettled, really, to end April and to start May. There could be more rain coming through with there. That's coinciding with the next bank holiday, of course, May Day bank holiday, which this year is very early on the 1st of May. So it looks like that one could be quite an unsettled week there. A little bit of odds with what the JMA is doing. And then we go through to week 4, and again, this looks different to the JMA. This is the 5th through to the 11th of May, when we're building up a ridge over Scandinavia then, and losing those areas of below average heights over us, probably turning the wind more east-southeasterly with that. It could be significantly warmer, and probably going back to fairly dry conditions as well, although with this area of below average heights down there off the coast of Portugal, you possibly wouldn't be ruling out the chance of some thunderpouts there. So very different, the two models for weeks 3 and weeks 4. They are in agreement for weeks 1 and 2. Temperature anomalies for the coming week with CFS-V2 is coming out close to or a little bit cooler than average, so a fairly cool week coming up. Week 2 temperature anomalies are also cooler than average in most parts of the country. So again, we have got good agreement here between these two models for quite a cool second half to April, particularly in comparison to what we've had with the first half of the month. Week 3 is also looking cooler than average, quite significantly and substantially so. Most parts of Europe are also quite cool. And then week 4, which looked like probably more easterly, southeasterly with the wind direction, probably goes a bit warmer than average. It does hint that temperatures are beginning to recover there as we're going through into further into May. Precipitation the coming week is looking drier than average, so cool and dry in the week ahead. Week 2 is also looking drier than average, so both models in agreement for a cool, dry end to April, second half to April. Then we go through to week 3. This is when we have that trough extending through the country. The model is just showing average precipitation, but I would have thought this is likely to be a pretty wet week, really, 28th of April to the 4th of May. It's just that it's losing the signal somewhat. And then we go through to week 4, finally, with the precipitation. And that is also looking close to average. Again, those week 3, week 4 precipitation anomalies always seem to lose the signal. I would suspect week 3 is wetter than average, week 4 possibly a drier, warmer week. So we've got a bit of a disagreement between the two models for going into May. What we can say is that the next couple of weeks are looking quite cool and fairly dry with both of these models, with high pressure to our west, low pressure to our east, and bringing the winds down from a northwesterly type direction. So quite cool, quite dry for the second half of April. The very end of April into the early part of May, that's where the uncertainty is. The JMA looks like it's just reverting to a typical westerly flow, whereas the CFS is doing something quite unusual, with week 3 looking unsettled and quite cool, and week 4 potentially turning much warmer with the winds coming in from the southeast. So disagreement there. The rest of April, though, looking cool and dry. Right, weekend forecast coming up tomorrow at Gas Surface. Hopefully we'll do CFS 6-month look ahead as well. Sunday we've got some analogues for the summer. We'll also be giving away the prize, of course. And then on Bank Holiday Monday we've got our historic video coming up, as we always have on Bank Holiday Mondays at Gas Surface. So lots going on through the website throughout Easter. Keep checking back. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.